Well, we are back for episode number 18. It's kind of crazy that
Third.
we've done 18 already. Doesn't feel like we've done that many,
Yeah.
but
18 whole weeks.
it's a lot of time right there.
Did we start in 2020 or 2021?
I think we started in 2020.
We started
September, I think.
right before the season started, I think.
Oh, that's what's up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, yeah, episode 18. I think it's going to be a good one. I think it's going to be, there's a lot of news,
Yeah.
surprisingly.
Oh, yeah.
So let's just get right into it because there's a lot to talk about. But I figured we would start with this one just to get out of the way so I could be sad for the rest of the episode because this was just, whatever. Let's just do it. So this past Monday, the NBA world, they saw yet another player go down with a significant injury, that being Nuggets guard Jamal Murray. He suffered a torn ACL in Denver's primetime matchup against the Golden State Warriors. At the time of his injury, he was averaging career highs in points, assists, steals, and three-point percentage. There's so much to say. I'll have a lot to say, but I want to hear from you guys first. I mean, how does this one impact the Western Conference playoffs? Because I think before the Murray injury, the Nuggets, especially with the acquisition of Aaron Gordon, were looked at as a potential NBA Finals contender. Now it might not be the same. They might not be looked at that way anymore. So what do you guys think?
It definitely hurts their chances, sadly. But they got a good team. They got a good team other than just him and Jokic. Like you guys got a deep team. Aaron Gordon wanted to leave Orlando to play for a competitor, even a contender, and now he's got the opportunity to be the number 2 option on a contender, or they were a contender at least. So I think this is a perfect time for Aaron Gordon to prove himself, see if he's really worth the trade. I mean, he was worth the trade because he didn't give up much, but we'll see if he's really about it.
I think that's fair. And I don't think Aaron Gordon's getting any worse from Jamal Murray being out. But yeah, it sucks. It sucks because honestly, the Nuggets, after getting Aaron Gordon in that trade, that put them on like the level of one of the top teams, like the Suns or the Lakers even. So the brutal truth is, I mean, this pretty much ruins the season for the Nuggets.
Jeez.
But I mean, they have a bright future. Like Jokic is, in my opinion, MVP. Jamal Murray, I mean, like people have gotten their ACL injuries before and they've come back even better. Like I look at a player like Zach LaVine, who had torn his ACL in Minnesota, and then he got traded to the Bulls, and now he's one of the best young players in the league. So I think this season it's going to be a setback, but ultimately they're still going to have that same goal within the next few seasons.
Maybe I'm pessimistic, but I don't know if I 100% agree with that. But I'm going to start with this. This injury it reminded me a lot of Danilo Gallinari tearing his ACL during the 2012-13 season. It's honestly really, really strange because that injury, Gallo's injury, also happened in April of that year's regular season. It pretty much happened on an identical play, him driving to the basket, and then his just knee gave out. He's 24 years old at the time and one of the Nuggets' best players. The Nuggets were 57-25 or finished 57-25 that year, and they had high hopes for the playoffs. And then they ended up losing in the first round to the Warriors that year. I'm kind of sensing a similar fate. Just looking at the standings, it looks like I don't know how much more movement there's really going to be, but it looks like the Nuggets are probably going to have to face the Lakers in the first round. And if that's the case, I really don't know if they can pull it off. I mean, I think they probably could have taken maybe the Suns or the Jazz in a first round series, but I don't think the Lakers, I think they're going to be motivated, especially since LeBron and AD are going to be rested and healthy and ready to go. But Murray, I just want to speak on him, how good he's been this year, because I feel like he started slow and then everyone was like, oh, that bubble performance was a fluke. He was one of 6 players this season to average 20 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, with shooting percentages of 47, 40, and 85 from the free throw line. Steph Curry, Chris Middleton, Paul George, KD, and Jokic were the other 5. I mean, that's 5 like potentially all NBA players, and Jamal Murray. I mean, losing him is just, I don't know. I think it just completely destroys their hopes. And you said, Toby, like they have their future is still bright because they're so young. And I agree with that. I think Jamal can come back healthy. But what scares me is that players generally recover from an ACL tear, anywhere from 9 to 12 months, but they don't necessarily get back to like peak form a little bit after that. You know, everyone looks at like Kevin Durant as an example this season, but it's like he had way more time than normal to recover from his Achilles injury.
Yeah, that's true.
So I don't know if we're going to really see peak Jamal until the start of the 2022-23 season, if we're being honest. Because I don't think he's probably going to miss a lot of next year, maybe come back for like the very end of the regular season, potentially the playoffs. And then I would imagine we'll get like peak Jamal, like what we're seeing now, the following season. But that's problematic because at that point, Aaron Gordon is going to be an unrestricted free agent and Michael Porter Jr.'s contract is going to be up. So the Nuggets really have to figure out what they're going to do with those two because, I mean,
So that happens in the same offseason?
yeah, so Aaron Gordon will be a free agent after next season, and Michael Porter Jr.'s rookie contract will be, done after next season as well. So that's
Ooh.
2 huge components to their team that could just potentially leave, and we might never get to see this iteration of the team. That's why it hurts a lot. Like the timing of it. I mean, obviously the injury, players' health is the most important thing. I think you always have to put that number 1. But the timing of this injury is just completely terrible for the Nuggets.
Yeah.
Like, it literally couldn't have happened at a worse time. So
Yeah. I mean, well, with the Aaron Gordon and the Michael Porter Jr. situation, that might be some more bad news because, in my opinion, I think you're only going to be able to keep one of them because
that's what I mean. Yeah.
if Aaron Gordon stays, if he's like, yeah, I'm messing with Denver, let's stay here. Michael Porter Jr. might be like, I'm not going to stay and waste my time because he's going to steal my starting spot. He's going to slow down my development. So why would I waste my time in Denver? I could go somewhere else and be that guy on the team. He can bet on himself and leave.
And especially
But
since he's gonna, like you said, get more playing time and get more touches now that Jamal is out. I think Michael Porter Jr. is gonna realize, wow, I could be a number 1 option on a
yeah,
pretty good team once my rookie contract is up, and I could probably get, a max contract somewhere else. So it's
right.
really just concerning.
I mean, I think if Aaron Gordon leaves, I think you have a pretty good chance of keeping Michael Porter Jr. because even like him and Jamal will just both be like the second or third option. It's just whoever's having a bad night, the other guy will step up.
Yeah.
And I feel like also, as long as you have both Jamal Murray and Jokic, your team's going to be competitive no matter what.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of pieces, like even if you can only keep one of those guys, there will be a lot of pieces that, will be available to you guys if you can get them in the free agency or whatever.
Yeah. I mean,
And
yeah.
if worst comes to worst, you guys suck it up next year. You stink so bad, and you get a nice draft pick thereafter. Like,
I don't think as long as Jokic is on the team, like he just
yeah,
he
but
hates losing.
like, worst comes to worst, you get a nice draft pick out of it. So
Yeah, it's just sad, man. I'm just
yeah, it really is because
sad
you never like to see any player, but especially a star, go down.
because he was really like this. This was really his like ascension into stardom. Like I would have
Yeah.
imagined if he had continued, he probably would have made an all-star team next year. This kind of just sets him back. But Jokic, like you said, as long as he's healthy, they're going to be competitive. But kind of as like a sidebar, you mentioned this, Justin. Like, it seems like we've seen an uptick in injuries. I don't know if we've I think so. Okay, I'll first say this. I was reading an article actually this past week in ESPN. They said of the 2021 All Stars, they've missed 15% of the possible games this season. So and that's on pace to be the second highest rate in NBA history. But the NBA came out earlier and said actually, like the injury rate for the overall league is down from last year. So they're like, I think I don't know if it's necessarily the injuries are, more prevalent this year, but it's just who is getting injured. That's what everyone is, because, LeBron gets hurt. Anthony Davis gets hurt. Kevin Durant's been hurt. James Harden has been hurt. Donovan
LaMelo.
Mitchell got hurt. Jamal
LaMelo.
Murray just got hurt. Like it's like all the stars, and everyone looks at that and then they think, oh wow, this is a terrible season. But really, I think I don't know. I think the schedule, the shortened off season, definitely has played a factor in this. But I don't know. It's every season. You see injuries every season. So
I mean, I know this is totally off topic, but that's why I hate this guy Tibbs, because he played RJ Barrett when we played the Mavericks. He played RJ Barrett 46 minutes in
Oh
that
my
game.
gosh.
Like, it didn't even that was a regular, like, ended regulation, no OT, 46 minutes in that game. If this guy Tibbs keeps playing him and Julius Randle like that, it's only a matter of time before I see it with one of them, and then I'm gonna be pissed.
yeah. And also in that article, there's like it said a veteran coach said this year, hands down, it was the worst schedule I've ever seen in 25 years. I mean, I don't know. Like that Nuggets Warriors game that Jamal got hurt in, it was the Denver's sixth game in 8 days. So like, it was. I don't know.
Definitely the schedule. I feel like some people will say that the shortened off season really screwed everything up. It's definitely the schedule, because we got to remember some of these teams haven't played in like a year, and while other teams have only had like a 2-month break or whatever.
Yeah, it's really weird.
And even those 8 teams that didn't play in the bubble, like we're still seeing injury problems with those teams as well.
And look at the Hawks. Like I think half their starting line, like Bogdanovich got hurt earlier in the season, and then both Cam Reddish and DeAndre Hunter have been out for like weeks. And
I was going to bring up the Timberwolves too. Like all the injuries that they've had with D'Lo and Cat, where they've barely even been able to play with each other. So I don't know what the solution is really. I'm sure things might get back to normal once we get a normal schedule. But I mean, I don't know.
I'm really not a fan of the schedule because there's way too many back-to-backs, and that's without teams that have had their games postponed. I saw a post on Instagram either earlier this week or last week, and that because of games being postponed, the Grizzlies, which have the most postponed games this season with 6, are playing 8 games in 12 days. Like,
yeah, that's ridiculous.
You just can't. That's impossible.
Yeah.
NBA level basketball.
Yeah.
It's more than a game every other day.
It's literally nuts. I don't know how they do it. And I just hope that the playoffs like aren't determined by injuries, because this is just like it could have been such a great year. Like we
Yeah.
just talked today, Kevin Durant got hurt. I don't know. It didn't look terrible, but he could be out for some time. And that's obviously going to set them back again. Like I just don't want to have a series where, if it is like Nets Lakers, I don't want to have a series where James Harden misses 2 games, Kevin Durant misses a game, LeBron misses a game. Like I don't want to. It'll just take away from the greatness of the series. So I hope it doesn't happen.
Yeah, we don't want another Warriors Spurs. Kawhi goes down. Like
Even Warriors Raptors, like 2
Yeah,
years
literally.
ago,
Yeah.
like where half the team just got injured, and I don't know. Well, you mentioned the Grizzlies, Justin, and kind of on a more positive note, their general manager Zach Kleeman updated the status of Memphis's big man Jaren Jackson Jr., who tore his meniscus during the NBA bubble last summer. But the team is expecting to have the New Jersey native return to the lineup by the end of April, nearly 9 months after suffering the injury. Today is April 18th, when we're recording this. So he could be back, within a week, which is pretty crazy. But I mean, what do you guys expect from him in his return? And can Memphis make the playoffs this season?
Yes, as a matter of fact, they can. And I'm expecting big things from JJJ. Right now, I believe they're playing Kyle Anderson at power forward and Brandon Clark too. Kyle Anderson, another New Jersey guy, I believe.
Sure.
But from what I've seen, Jaren Jackson Jr. in past seasons, him being like only 19 years old and showing, I guess, glimpses of like elite offensive talent, where he can shoot, he can drive, he's a really good passer. Offensively, I'm expecting the Grizzlies to be even better than they are right now. Defensively, that's another story, but I'm excited. I'm excited to see what he can do, and I'm excited to see them in the playoffs too.
Now I'm not as optimistic as you are, Toby, because I feel like the Grizzlies got a good thing going as it is. So I think maybe trying to insert this big old guy back into the lineup might hurt their offense even. Trying to figure out how to get him involved after he hasn't played for almost a year. He might be throwing up bricks all day.
I mean, learning curve.
Yeah, but
Learning curve.
they are right now, they're 29 and 26 at the 8th spot. I think if they stay in the play-in tournament, I think he will help them. But I think if they somehow break that and get into the playoffs, it's a first round exit.
Probably.
I would like to see them in the playoffs, though. But it's funny because, I was watching the Grizzlies Mavericks game on Wednesday, and that was the game Luka hit that game winner, which was just like, didn't even make sense how he made that. But I was thinking, like, as watching it, because they had Jonas Valanciunas, who was defending Kristaps most of that game. I was thinking, like, I honestly forgot, like, Jaren Jackson Jr. was even on this team, like, low key. And I was thinking, like, if Memphis had like another defender, mobile power forward that could like shoot, stretch the floor, that would literally be like perfect for this team. And then I'm like, wait, Jaren Jackson Jr. is literally on this team. So like, I think it's going to be, if he can like be healthy. I was just talking about how I don't think players are going to be like super healthy immediately after, they come off an injury, but during the bubble, he was averaging 25 a game, 25 points per game, shooting 36% from 3. Like, that's pretty nuts for a 7-footer. And he, defensively, he's already shown like he's one of like the best defensive players in the league, because he has a crazy, physical attributes. He's 7 feet tall. He's a 7'4" wingspan, and his like
How old is he?
I'm pretty sure he's only like 21 or 22 years old. I mean, he was drafted the year before Ja was, I think. So
Yeah.
this would only be his third year, which is just nuts. And I mean, it just goes to show like how young this team is. They're the second youngest team in the league behind.
Jorie, I just looked it up. Jaren Jackson Jr. was born 4 days after Jordan. He was born on September 15th, 1999.
That's funny. That's kind of funny.
Ew.
So he's only 21, right?
Yeah, he's 21. Yeah, he's only 21.
That's kind of crazy. Yeah, that is weird. But again, yeah, it just goes to show how young this team is. Like literally all their best players are like that, like under the age of 25. You know, Ja, Dylan Brooks. I mean, other than like Valanciunas, they don't really have that many older players on this team. But in terms of making the playoffs, I think they have to hold on to that 8th seed because they don't want to have to win 2 games in those play-in tournaments, especially like, you know, against the Warriors. Like you're telling me Steph Curry wouldn't just get hot one game. Like in that, if that's the case, they would probably have to play the Mavericks and the Warriors, like most likely. And that would just be hell trying to play Steph Curry in a do or die game and then have to play Luca in a do or die game. Like that's not what you want. So I think they have to try and stay in the 8th seed. But
I think they're capable of doing so.
Yeah, I agree, especially if they can get him back.
Shout out to their head coach,
Jenkins.
Yeah, but he's done a great job. Even when they lost Ja for that little stretch when he hurt his ankle, they were still playing really good basketball. So
yeah, I like their team, man. But just because I want to mention this, I've totally forgot to mention that Steph. Like this is why I think them losing the 8th seed to the Warriors would be terrible, because the way Steph is playing right now just doesn't even make sense. Over his last 8 games, he's averaging 40 points per game, 6 rebounds, 4.5 assists, shooting 57% from the field, 50% from 3 on 14 attempts per game.
Jeez.
14 threes a game and 90% from the free throw line. And they're 5-3 in that span. Like, he's literally just going ballistic right now. And I don't know if it would carry all the way into the play-in tournament, but like he's capable of literally giving you 50 points on any given night. And I don't think the Grizzlies want to have to deal with that. So I think they got to lock in that 8th seed. Yeah. Just keep playing through the end of the season.
They could even snag a 7th seed and not even have to worry about it too.
Well, the 7th seed is also part of the play-in.
Oh, right.
So, but they would just have the upper hand, I guess. They would have the home court advantage in the 7-8 game. But yeah, I think they can do it. I hope they do it. Although I would like to see the Warriors also in the playoffs. Because I would like to see Steph, you know, as an underdog.
Yeah.
That would be kind of fun to watch.
I mean, no matter what, those teams aren't going to get past the first round.
Can we talk about that though, Jorie? Can we talk about if this guy Steph? I'm almost positive I said it way earlier in the season. I said if Steph can bring these clowns to the playoffs, he might deserve an MVP.
Yeah,
can we talk about that?
Like
I mean, I want to give it to your boy Jokic, but this guy Steph might be.
Yeah,
might be blowing him out of the water.
He's playing like it, man. Do you think if you had to pick 3, so obviously the All NBA team has 2 guards. If you had to pick 2 guards for the All NBA first team, who would you pick?
Steph and Dame.
So not James Harden or Luka?
I think honestly James Harden has missed too many games. I would have to say Steph.
And Dame?
I don't know. I'm trying to think.
Which is crazy because Dame didn't even start an All-Star game.
Yeah, because people are sleeping.
And then
would they count Luka as a guard?
I think so.
I think they would give it to him, honestly.
Because I think it's like a matter of like how many minutes you play at that position. It doesn't really matter like if you're listed at that position. It's just like how many minutes you play. So
yeah, I would think that they would give it to him, but
I think
Team could
Steph has
also
to
play
be
well
on.
with it
I think Steph has to be an All NBA first team player though,
Yeah.
for
Mhm.
sure.
because like what he's doing right now is just ridiculous. Like he's literally carrying, like the definition of carrying the team. Like if he doesn't go off like he is, they don't win a single game.
I mean, he put up 47 and they lost to the
Yeah, and they
Celtics.
still lost. Like, well, it's because the Celtics. I mean, Jason Tatum, I think, had like 44 in that game. So it's not like they didn't. They lost to like some crappy
Some
team.
bums.
Yeah, exactly. But I guess another big man who is close to returning, Anthony Davis, who was recently cleared for full contact practice on Thursday. He's expected to return most likely after their 2-game stint against the Utah Jazz. I think they already played one of their games yesterday, I think, and they won, surprisingly. So he could return very, very soon, Anthony Davis. He's been out with a calf strain since February 14th. And during that span, the Lakers fell from second place in the Western Conference to fifth. So, I mean, I remember talking about it, like thinking they were gonna drop even further, but I'm kind of impressed with how the Lakers have performed without their two superstars, because obviously LeBron is still out. But do you guys think the Lakers can get back to the finals this season?
Yeah, without a doubt.
Without a doubt.
hmm
No
If
doubt, really?
if LeBron is back for the playoffs, they might even go through the first 3 rounds without taking a loss.
Wow, that's bold. That's
You heard
very
that hot
bold.
take
I don't
here,
know. That's
here first on here on Full Court Report, baby.
very bold.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to disagree with that. I at this point, okay, so at the beginning of the year, all right, so they played a full playoffs, right? Everybody was saying like Anthony Davis just doesn't look the same. Like I don't know if it's the bubble, he's just not putting up the numbers that he once did.
Yeah, I was saying that. I think that might have been me.
And I definitely agree with that. I think the stats show it. But what I'm trying to say is like when he comes back, there's no guarantee that he's gonna go right back to the form that he was last playoffs. And so they're gonna make it definitely past the first probably 2 rounds. But I think a team like the Utah Jazz will definitely give him a tough time. Especially the matchup. What I'm trying to say is like the defensive matchups, I think, serve the Lakers the best out of any other team. So I definitely think a Jazz Lakers series would go at least 6 games.
Well, if the standings are, stay as currently constructed, that would be the second round matchup if both teams won.
So
Jazz Lakers in the second round.
So let's talk about this. If let's say LeBron is not back for the first round, does anybody have any clue when that guy's coming back?
I remember watching. I don't remember what game I was watching. I think it might have been the Knicks game, actually. So I don't remember. I think that might have been Monday, and they said he's gonna come back in 3 weeks. So probably like the start of May, he'll be back. LeBron.
Okay. But all right. Anyway, even if he is back, let's just talk about it. If he's not back for the first round of the playoffs and the standings are how they are, do you think the Lakers with just Anthony Davis can beat the Nuggets, even though they lost Jamal?
Don't get me. Don't even do that to me, dude.
That's a great question, but I don't think they can do that.
Really, you think the Nuggets would win?
I think the Nuggets can pull that off, especially with the vengeance that they have.
Without LeBron, it'd be very close. Like it'd be really close. Cause like I don't think I mean I don't know. I don't know, dude. Like Aaron Gordon is probably more suited to defend Anthony Davis than anyone was on their team last year. Like, I don't think anyone on that team last year could defend Anthony Davis. And I mean, Jokic is playing like MVP. And even last year,
I
like
mean, Jokic
even
Jokic
last year,
lost a lot of weight. You don't think Jokic could keep up with Anthony Davis?
no.
Nah.
Like, it like even last year, like it was just back and forth. Like honestly, neither of them could guard one another. Like as good as defensively as AD was, like he was still struggling to defend Jokic, which is makes sense because he's one of the best players in the league. But like I don't know, it'd be very close. But I mean, I would expect LeBron to be back, and
Yeah.
if that's the case, then I don't think the Nuggets really have a shot. But then again, if Utah and the Lakers win and the standings stay how they are, which seems likely because, there's a lot more separation in the Western Conference than there is in the Eastern Conference. So it would be most likely Lakers, Jazz in the second round, and then Clippers, Suns
In the second round.
in the second round, and
Oh,
then
that would be a great series.
Clippers, Suns. It would, yeah, that would be a really
You know, if those were the matchups,
Chris Paul versus his old team.
ooh, yeah, I was gonna say if those are the matchups, I don't know. I was gonna say we'll probably see the LA teams, but the Suns might pull it off.
The Suns, I feel like, just have been the most underrated, under-discussed team in the league this season because they're 40-16
Oh,
after missing the playoffs. Like that's like ridiculous. They literally have, I'm pretty sure, the second best record in the NBA.
we should see when the season is over, we should see how nice of like a turnaround that was. Because that might be like an all-time,
Literally,
like
one of
go
the
from the
best.
worst to the best in one season.
One of the best, because that's nuts. I mean,
But
we don't see that very often.
the Lakers, I know for a fact, I said this when Anthony Davis and LeBron went down. Their other pieces, Dennis Schroeder, Montrezl Harrell, even Taylor Horton Tucker has been playing amazing. All the guys who I said needed to step up, all stepped up, baby.
True. You said it was going to be
Kuzma's-
Kuzma's team, though. You
Yeah, I
definitely
did say
said that.
Kuzma. I did say Kuzma. I don't really know how that guy's doing.
I think
I
he's
saw
doing
he put
okay.
up like 20 something the other night.
He looks like more confident in himself, I think. But one thing I noticed about the Lakers without LeBron is that when Schroeder goes to the bench, like they don't have like a point guard like at all. Like no one can run the offense for the Los Angeles without Schroeder. So that's a problem. Like last year they had Rondo
Mm-hmm.
kind of backing him up. But like they don't have anyone like that without Schroeder on the floor. And like their offense just sucks really without him. But their defense has been really good. I feel like that's why they've been winning. It's because their defense. And, Andre Drummond helps a lot.
Yeah, he's been playing really solid, actually.
So it'll be interesting. It's going to be a very interesting playoffs with Los Angeles. If LeBron wins this year, I don't know, man.
GOAT. He's the GOAT.
But we'll see. We'll see.
It's not going to happen, though, because the Nets are going to win it all. So it's all good.
Well, hey, how about this? I was saying this yesterday because the Celtics were playing the Warriors. The Celtics, they look good, and if the Nets can't stay healthy in the playoffs, I would not want to face the Celtics if I was Brooklyn, because while a lot of people consider this part of the schedule, the least entertaining, this is really the time where a lot of teams are just surging or they're kind of falling apart. And right now, the Celtics, they're playing some of their best basketball of the season. They've won 6 in a row. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are playing like all NBA players. Jason Tatum is averaging, and he also said, Jason Tatum, who he recently said like 4 days ago, he said he's still dealing with COVID symptoms. He said he's having trouble breathing when he's playing. He needs to use an inhaler. So he's doing
First time
that.
ever.
He's producing at an all NBA level, even though he's still being affected by those symptoms. He's averaging close to 33 points per game, 9 rebounds, 4 assists in that span. And then Jaylen Brown, who didn't play against the Warriors on Saturday. He's averaging 28, 7, and 3. And then obviously you can't forget about Kemba, who's averaging 18 and 6 in that span, and Marcus Smart, who's averaging 16 and 6 in that span. All their guys are really stepping up, and they're all playing like, I think, again, it's just another one of those teams that had a short off season because they made it so far in the playoffs last year. And now I think they have their legs under them, and they're just doing what they've always done, and that's just be great. But what do you guys think?
And
Do you think they can get to the Eastern Conference Finals? Because they've made it 3 of the last 4 seasons. Do you think they could knock off either, Philly or Brooklyn or the Bucks? Who knows?
I don't know, because they did make some pretty good signings. They signed or they traded for Evan Fournier, and they also just signed Jabari Parker, who played in that Warriors game, and
Yeah.
I mean, I think he played pretty well. I wasn't really paying that much attention, but I don't know if they can get to the Eastern Conference Finals. I don't know if they can get past Brooklyn or Philly.
I mean, what do you think, Tobe?
Well, what I think is I don't think they can make it. I think it's definitely going to be either Bucks, Sixers, or Nets in the finals. But if the Nets have to face the Celtics in like the second round, and I think I alluded to this earlier this year in another podcast, but the Celtics are like the scariest team for the Nets to face. I mean, Tatum and Brown and Smart and all the rest of them already have so much playoff experience already. They know what it takes to get to that spot. I think one of the big things going into the playoffs is how well Kemba is going to perform, because last year I was not impressed with him.
Yeah.
He did not. He just didn't look like himself. And I think if Kemba can play like himself, play like he's playing right now in the playoffs,
it's gonna be a tough
then
out.
It's gonna be a really tough out. They'll steal a few games off the Nets for sure.
Yeah, I mean, and I think not only do they have a lot of playoff experience, it's crazy to think that, those guys that are so young, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, have already played so many playoff games, it feels like, and like high level playoff games too. Like I said, 3 of the last 4 Eastern Conference Finals. But they have played together. That's the thing. Like, they're not just a bunch of guys that are thrown together that have a bunch of playoff experience. They've been on the same team for multiple years. Like, they know how to play with one another. And I feel like that'll help. But you mentioned, Justin, the Evan Fournier acquisition. I thought it was stupid when it first got reported, because I was like, why? You already have Tatum, Brown, Marcus Smart, kind of as like wings. Why do you need another wing that doesn't really offer much outside of scoring? But I didn't realize that Boston's bench actually averages the second least amount of points this season, only ahead of the Sacramento Kings. So they have one of the worst bench units in the league. And I didn't realize, him coming off the bench would, add a lot of value, because he's averaging close to 19 points a game. I mean, he probably won't off the bench, but you have a close to a 20-point per game score off your bench. That's definitely going to help.
I feel like every team that's like really good has that guy. The Lakers have Schroeder come off the bench. That guy's putting up 15 a night easy.
Well, he starts. He's a starter.
Oh, really? Well, anyway, the Jazz, they have the 6th man in the year, and he might be one of the biggest reasons they're doing so well. Jordan Clarkson, he's really I like myself some Jordan Clarkson.
Yeah, yes, sir.
But yeah, I feel like most really good teams need that guy that's going to come off the bench and just be like, yeah, you know what, I'm putting up all the points.
Yeah, man. I mean, the Celtics, they have a lot of depth. They're a younger team, I think, but they look good, man. I would not want to face them. And I remember telling a friend of mine who's a Celtics fan. I told him I think they're gonna be in a first round exit this season after having so much success. Now I look like an idiot because they could just shock the world again, get to the Eastern Conference Finals. Who knows? Maybe even the finals.
Or they
Imagine
could lose in the first round.
that too. Imagine a OG Lakers Celtics finals. Imagine that. I thought we were going to get it last year, but
Yeah.
it was Lakers Heat. But yeah, man.
The Heat, they have not been playing. Well, I mean, that guy got injured, didn't he? Didn't Victor Oladipo get hurt again?
I think he did, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they won today. They beat the Nets today.
Mm.
Off the game winner.
Okay, yeah, nobody can guard Bam. So
yeah, yeah. But I mean, Miami, yeah, like you said, they haven't been playing great recently. I think they've lost like 10 of their last 17 games or something, which is not great. So they're kind of crumbling down the standings. But still going to be a tough team in the playoffs, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean that's really all the topics I got. Shout out Ari McDonald and Arella Garantes, two WNBA draftees this past Thursday. Garantes went to Rutgers, and Ari, I keep saying that wrong. It's Ari McDonald. She almost won the national championship for Arizona.
And they're both seniors, right? Because you have to be 22 to join the WNBA.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know if I like that rule.
Because Paige Beckers would have won overall.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But it just makes, it allows for dynasties like UConn women's basketball. They're just always gonna be good because they're going to always have prospects. But even into the later years, I think it's cool for college basketball, but maybe not for the pros. But yeah. Well,
I know it's not news, I guess it is news, but we didn't have it on the rundown. Let's talk about my New York Knicks for a second, because that's a 6-game win streak, baby.
Okay.
First 5-game win streak since 2014.
Damn.
That's gross.
That is pretty. No, that's
good. That's good.
Yeah, I mean, I like what the Knicks they've been playing great recently. I've watched a lot of their games this week. Julius Randle,
love him. I love him. I love him. I love RJ.
Perfect. The only thing is, I feel like you're going to make the playoffs this season. I think there's no doubt. I think the Knicks make the playoffs. But if you really want to become a true finals contender, I think you need to get a top flight point guard, someone who's top 5 at his position.
Mm-hmm.
Or could be top 5 at his position. And I don't know who that is. I
totally agree.
But I was just talking about the Kings. If De'Aaron Fox, he just signed an extension. He's not going to be a free agent for 5 years. But if they keep losing and they can't, make him happy, I think De'Aaron Fox in New York with RJ and Julius Randle, a core with those three, that'd be I think that's a team that could get to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Playoffs. RJ might be the odd man out with that because De'Aaron Fox and Julius Randle are both Kentucky boys.
Ooh.
So that guy RJ might just be the oddball out, but that's all right. That's what he gets for going to Duke.
Lonzo Ball. Lonzo Ball.
We should have LeVar coach. We should have LeVar be the coach.
No, you do not want that.
I just love the defensive mindedness of the whole team, just the roster, the coaches, everything. But this guy Tibbs is really scaring me with how much minutes he's playing on the starters. Just
I mean,
He's only giving Obi, Kevin Knox, and like Frank Ntilikina like 10 minutes a night.
I mean, I think it's, I don't know, like he's just getting the playoff for like lineup ready. I feel like even like when the playoffs start, that like you kind of shorten your rotation anyway to like 8 guys, 9 guys. Like you're not gonna play like 11 people in the playoffs most likely.
7. He's only playing 7 in a regular season game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it's if the players aren't complaining, there's no reason to be worried.
Yeah. If it ain't
I mean,
broke, don't fix it.
obviously the starters aren't complaining, but like Dennis Smith Jr., like he obviously did. He would rather have played in the G League than played on the Knicks.
Well, I respect that. No, I respect that because you got to bet on yourself sometimes. Like,
Yeah, but at the same time, he's not getting any playing time whatsoever with Tibbs. So like, what's the point of even being on the team?
Mm-hmm. I like.
some people like it. So I personally, if I got to get paid millions of dollars to sit on the bench for a winning team, I'd be like, hell yeah, bro.
I mean, yeah, obviously it's working.
I think the best
But
part
I
about
mean, yeah, I respect. I respect it because you got to do what you got to do to get a dub. But I don't want Julius Randle or RJ getting injured.
I think the best part about your team is just the chemistry, and it's crazy because you feel like you don't really see that with like first year teams. I mean, a lot of these guys were here last year, but like they just seem like they enjoy playing together. It seems like they just they look like a team that actually likes each other, which is, I mean, not rare, but maybe rare for a team that is so young and hasn't won in a while. So it's pretty.
That's good. That's good for the culture. That's good for the
Exactly,
culture.
and that's just gonna draw free agents. Now this summer is huge for the Knicks because this is this could really like. I saw after this season or after their game against the Pelicans today, Zion was getting interviewed and he was saying like, "Yeah, I love playing in New York. This is like outside because this today was his first game in MSG of his career, and he was saying like this is probably my favorite place to play outside of New Orleans." But I'm like, you don't like playing in New Orleans. Definitely better than New Orleans. But if he were to go to New York, I mean, I don't know how he'd fit with the team, but like that would be something.
We could have drafted him.
Nah, but I like what you have with RJ. I don't think Randall would have been able to flourish with Zion. So like it would have been redundant. So what you have with RJ is good.
And Mitchell Robinson too. He's gonna be.
I'm really happy that.
I don't want to hear that from you, Toby. You were hating on that guy Mitchell Robinson before the show.
I just think Noel might be a little better right now. Right now.
Okay.
I'm happy that RJ is like in a winning situation already because like I felt so bad for him because he was just like an afterthought in his draft, and everyone's like, oh, his career is gonna be terrible because he's on the worst team in the league. But like it took him only 1 year, and now he's in the playoffs. Like Zion can't even say that. The Ja can't even say that, or not yet at least. We'll see if either of them make the playoffs. But it'd be funny to see RJ make the playoffs before those two.
Yeah.
We'll see. But yeah.
RJ's really dog.
Yeah, I just feel like you do need one more.
Yeah.
Like one more piece that can really develop into an all-star. And then
I wouldn't even be surprised if we lost in the first round. I'm not hoping for it, but I'm not getting my hopes up for anything.
You're gonna get if you're a 4-5 matchup with like the Hawks or whatever. I think you could go 7 games. You could probably even win that series.
Yeah, I think that would be.
But we'll see. I think you got to get the 4-5 matchup. I don't think you want to face any of the top 3 teams at all.
Yeah, even if 4-5 matchup, you could be playing the Celtics or the Heat.
Yeah, if it's the Celtics, that'd be tough. But I think if you get the Hawks in the first round, I think the Knicks could win.
Yeah, because I feel like I was gonna say I feel like we could even take on the Bucks, but probably not.
Yeah, I think the Bucks are gonna have the Bucks are a sleeper team. I think with Drew Holiday.
No, honestly, I'm thinking about it now. the Knicks being one of the best defensive teams in the league, if we stop Giannis, we stop the Bucks.
No,
So I mean,
it's not like it was last year or years prior. It's different. It's different.
no,
Question.
it's not. I don't think it is different though, because they've got the same team as they did last year, except Drew Holiday instead of Eric Bledsoe.
Which is massive upgrade.
Is it really though? Because
It is. It's a way bigger upgrade than people think. I think that's why people are gonna. I think the Bucks could shock a lot of people.
I don't think they're like such a sleeper team though. I think a
I
lot
don't
of
think they're
people
a
already
sleeper team.
expect them.
It's just people are just like, oh, whatever.
people aren't giving them the respect that they're giving everybody
yeah.
else.
It's like I won't be surprised if they get to the Eastern Conference Finals, but like nobody's saying they will.
Yeah, but at the same time, you gotta like it might just be the same old story with the Bucks. Like best team ever in the regular season. And then once it gets postseason,
But that's what I'm thinking.
That's why they
Yeah.
got Holiday for.
I got a question:
It could change.
Are the Pacers in the playoffs?
They're in the play-in. They're at 9 right now.
Oh,
Pacers, man, what the hell happened to them?
I mean, they traded Oladipo, and then
I think
Is
Brogdon-
TJ? What happened to TJ Warren? Like,
He's hurt. He's been hurt
Still?
all season. Yeah, I think he's been hurt all season. I think
I thought he
Sabonis
was
and Brogdon have been
back.
injured. Yeah, dude, that's just sad.
I will
the
say,
Hornets are really sucking without LaMelo.
I think Gordon Hayward also got hurt too, right?
I didn't know that.
So, yeah, a lot of injuries to those bottom flight teams in the playoffs.
I will say, Karis LeVert has been playing great with the Pacers. I think just the other day he put up like 28, and then
Ooh, now that's nice to hear about Karis, but the play-in tournament in the East, Washington and Chicago has the 10 seed right now. Washington has the same record as them, and they're at 11, and then Toronto has the same amount of wins and one more loss than those teams.
oof.
So, like, it could really be like we don't even know who's going to be in the Eastern play-in tournament.
I would rather see the Wizards
Than
in
who,
10
the
seed
Bulls?
than the Bulls. Yeah, I don't think the Bulls would win a game. I think Russell Westbrook in a do or die situation with Bradley Beal would have like the craziest game ever. He would literally have like 40, 20, and 30 or something stupid.
I think the Bulls could win. I think they could beat if they played like the Hawks.
Well, in the play-in,
Mm.
they would in the play-in they would place. I don't know.
They'd have to
Pacers.
play. Yeah, I don't think they'd beat the Pacers.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Chicago's been underwhelming ever since they acquired Vucevic. I think they
I'm telling you, it's a learning curve.
Didn't somebody get hurt?
Next year they'll.
Didn't somebody on the Bulls get hurt?
I'm
not sure.
I think they're relatively healthy. Yeah, well, I mean, we're closing in on the end of the regular season. I think a lot of teams only have like 15 games left, so we're almost there.
Let's go.
Almost there.
I'm so excited.
I'm excited. It'll be
I
good.
just hope the Nets can have a healthy roster, healthy big three.
You know, I really hate them. I really hate those three guys, but I hope they're healthy too. Like I really do, because it's just you don't want to see them lose just because of injuries. Like you want to see them lose because they got outplayed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also,
And
it's going
you
to be
definitely
curious.
want to see them lose. You definitely want to see them lose.
It's also going to be curious to see if the Nets go after another big man after Aldridge just retired.
Yeah, damn, bro. Sad.
I can't believe we didn't have that in.
I was gonna mention it during the schedule seat part, but I didn't know how it would really fit in. That's just sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hope he's good. Hall of Famer, man. Hall of Famer.
I agree.
Do you
I don't
think
know
that he should get his jersey retired with the
Oh, yeah,
Trailblazers?
absolutely. Yeah, that more than anything, dude. Like he was a staple of the Portland's franchise for years.
Yeah, I agree.
So, yeah. All right. Is that all you guys have? Anything else you want to mention before we sign off?
Yeah, that's all I got.
Mm.
Hope.
All
Nah.
I got.
All right. Well, until next week. This has been a nice little episode. Episode 18. All right.
Sure.
Take care, everyone. From myself, Jorie Mickens, and my two co-hosts, Justin Sadovi and Chris Tobias, thank you so much for listening to that episode of the Full Court Report NBA show. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at FullCReport, on Instagram at the.fullcourt.report. Like and comment on this video and subscribe so you never miss a minute of action.